What's up, guys? The 2019 NFL Draft is all wrapped up. But don't just start counting down the days until week 1 of the preseason. There are plenty of big-name players who will be either dealt or be cut before then. Some of them are easy to predict. They may be too expensive, past their primes, or simply not productive enough. But on top of that, many of these players saw their replacements get drafted during the exciting draft weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. So what veterans are going to have to find new homes soon? I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present the 10 biggest names that are most likely to get cut or traded following the NFL Draft. And don't forget to leave your video ideas down below. We'll be looking, and if we choose your idea, we're going to give you a shout out in the video. So you get to be famous on TPS. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos every single day. Every day's a new video, so you should definitely subscribe. Number 10, Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Miami Dolphins signed the career journeyman in free agency, but that was just to be safe. Miami certainly didn't expect to come away with the ultra-talented and youthful 2018 first-round pick Josh Rosen, but he became expendable once the Arizona Cardinals took Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray at the number 1 overall. With the Dolphins in rebuilding mode, it makes sense for new head coach Brian Flores to hand Rosen the starting job immediately. This would make Fitzpatrick expendable, and Miami might be able to land a late-round pick from a team that wants to upgrade its backup QB situation. Maybe Miami decides to keep Fitzpatrick for the time being, but it wouldn't be a shock if he was gone by the end of the preseason play. The Dolphins really don't need both Fitzpatrick and Rosen. The latter is their QB of the future, and Fitzpatrick doesn't usually last long as a starter anyway. So we expect Fitzmagic's time in Miami to be short and sweet. He's unlikely to be here by the time week 1 rolls around. Number 9, Allen Hurns. Needing a wide receiver in the 2018 offseason, the Cowboys signed former Jacksonville Jaguars standout Allen Hurns to a 2-year deal worth up to $12 million. But the Cowboys actually wound up solving their wide receiver woes by trading for Oakland Raiders star Amari Cooper, who formed immediate chemistry with Dak Prescott. And with tight end Jason Witten coming out of retirement, the Cowboys look to be stacked with pass catchers now. The cap-strapped Cowboys don't really need Hurns, who only had 20 catches for 295 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense to keep an unproductive number 3 or 4 wideout much longer. Dallas will cut at least one of Hurns and Tavon Austin, perhaps both. The latter can at least be used in different ways and has a better skill set. So if the Cowboys have to pick just one, Hurns is probably the one heading out. Not sure if the Cowboys would get much for Hurns on the open market, so it's more likely he gets released than anything else. Number 8, Janoris Jenkins. In the 2016 offseason, the New York Giants gave Jenkins a 5-year deal worth a reported $62.5 million. He earned his first Pro Bowl selection in 2016, but Jenkins hasn't been able to regain that star-like form. The Giants are once again in rebuilding mode here. Odell Beckham Jr., Olivier Vernon, Damon Harrison, and Landon Collins are gone. So why keep on an expensive cornerback in his 30s? Especially when his production simply isn't going to get better. The Giants got safety Jabril Peppers from the Cleveland Browns in the Beckham trade, and they moved up to select Georgia corner DeAndre Baker at number 30 overall. In the 4th round, the Giants took another corner at Notre Dame product Julian Love. And finally, Dave Gettleman took Westburn corner Corey Ballantyne in the 6th round. With 3 new corners and a young safety coming aboard, the Giants don't need Jenkins, so it makes sense to cut him now and hand the responsibilities to their younger defensive backs. Number 7, Jimmy Smith. A young-time mainstay in the Baltimore Ravens secondary, Jimmy Smith may end up being the odd man out now. He missed time in 2016 and 17 due to injury and was also suspended for portions of 2018. Now on the wrong side of 30, Smith is more than likely to be released by the Ravens. Don't forget that this is perhaps the best secondary in football. Not only that, but they added Pro Bowl safety Earl Thomas in free agency. The Ravens also drafted USC corner Iman Marshall in the 4th round, and he should become a starter on that defense in short time. Given Smith's age, declining production, injury history, and heavy salary for 2019, it makes sense for Baltimore to cut him here. Although lots of teams should come calling if he were to enter free agency. So look for the Ravens to move on from Smith as they continue to add more youth to their defense. Number 6, Nelson Agholor. Though he played a nice role in the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl 52 championship season, shifty slot receiver Nelson Agholor hasn't quite progressed as much as the team has hoped. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport said before the draft that some teams believed Agholor was available via trade. I mean, everything really points towards that. The Eagles brought back the speedy and dynamic Deshaun Jackson in a trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They also selected Stanford wideout J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in the 2nd round, number 57 overall. Agholor is also in the final year of his contract, and the receiver-heavy Eagles may as well get something for him in a trade. With Jackson, Arcega-Whiteside, Alshon Jeffrey, and Zach Ertz employed as the top pass catchers, Agholor is obviously the odd man out. Given his age, quickness, and skill set, Agholor should be able to net a mid-round pick in the trade, and there will be lots of interest. With that, all signs point towards Agholor playing on a new team in 2019. Number 5, Telvin Smith. When you connect all the dots, it's oh so clear that athletic linebacker Telvin Smith has already played his final season with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Team president Tom Coughlin openly called out Smith, who decided not to attend voluntary workouts. Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer even said he's heard Smith's name on the trade block. The Jaguars also went to work in reshaping their front seven this offseason. They drafted Josh Allen with the top pick while cutting Malik Jackson, a mainstay on their defensive line. Also, don't forget they took linebacker Quincy Williams in the 3rd round. He could easily slot in as Smith's replacement. Smith has seemingly worn out his welcome in Jacksonville, and the Jaguars will need to make a decision soon on his future. Number 4, Kyle Rudolph. Even though the Vikings have enough pass catchers, GM Rick Spielman went out and took Alabama tight end Irv Smith Jr. with the 50th pick in the draft. Is that not obvious enough that the Vikings aren't planning to keep veteran tight end and fan favorite Kyle Rudolph for much longer? 2019 marks the final year of Rudolph's contract, and though he's only entering his age 29 to 30 season, seems like the Vikings are ready to part ways. It's a bit surprising since Rudolph remains one of the more productive tight ends in the NFL. At any rate, the Vikings seem intent on changing it up, so we can expect them to shop or even release Rudolph. Smith might be a more dynamic weapon than Rudolph anyway, and Minnie doesn't need 2 tight ends. But Rudolph should have some value on the trade market, since there aren't that many tight ends who can match his production and consistency. Rudolph would be a great fit for the New England Patriots, who must fit the void left behind by Rob Gronkowski. Even the Seattle Seahawks and Pittsburgh Steelers could use a guy like Rudolph. At any rate, the Vikings seem ready for a change. So don't be surprised if Rudolph is cut or released before the start of 2019. Number 3, Chris Harris Jr. The Broncos did a great job addressing the problems on offense through the draft, nabbing tight end Noah Fant, quarterback Drew Lock, and offensive tackle Dalton Reisner, but John Elway seemingly isn't interested in giving a contract extension to Pro Bowl corner Chris Harris Jr., who has been a mainstay in their secondary for a while now. Harris took to social media to voice his disappointment and frustration. With the Broncos still rebuilding and in need of a younger talent on defense, it might make sense to move out Harris while he has value, and to avoid the risk of losing him for nothing in 2020 free agency. Harris remains one of the NFL's elite slot corners and would attract interest from at least a dozen teams. The Broncos are looking at getting 1 or 2 mid-round picks for Harris. He's definitely not getting cut. If a trade doesn't materialize, Denver can wait until the 2019 trade deadline. But at either rate, Harris is likely done in Denver by some point this year. It's been a great run, which consisted of a Super Bowl 50 championship, but the Broncos and Harris are better off parting ways now. Number 2, LeSean McCoy. The Bills signed future Hall of Famer and ageless wonder Frank Gore to complement LeSean McCoy, but we can't see how the Bills will settle with this not-so-young running back duo throughout 2019. The Bills drafted Florida Atlantic running back Devin Singletary in the 3rd round. Simply taking another running back that early is enough to think that GM Brandon Beane is ready to move on from either Gore or McCoy. Well, McCoy is on the wrong side of 30 and is entering the final year of his contract. He had a frustrating 2018 season and doesn't seem to fit the Bills' long-term plans, whereas Gore will likely serve as a mentor and leadership role to the young Buffalo players. That's what makes McCoy the likely odd man out. The Bills stand to either release McCoy or trade him to another team for a mid to late round pick. There's just no need to carry these 3 running backs on the roster, and head coach Sean McDermott seems bent on rolling with his younger players. McCoy would sure be a nice fit for the Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, or Oakland Raiders. There should be a market for him, so we expect Buffalo to trade McCoy rather than release him. Number 1, Tyreek Hill. It's quite disturbing enough that the Kansas City Chiefs didn't release Tyreek Hill immediately after the leaked audio tapes came out, but owner Clark Hunt has some of the worst standards ever when it comes to dealing with players who committed domestic violence. The disturbing tape suggested that Hill broke his 3-year-old son's arm, and he was caught threatening his fiancée as well. This, folks, is a man that doesn't deserve to play football again. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter if Hill's the NFL's fastest wide receiver, or if he's young and in his prime. It doesn't matter if he's a game changer. Hill is a bad person who's played his last down in Kansas City. They wasted little time releasing Kareem Hunt. When all is said and done, Hill is going to be released. And hopefully once that happens, another team doesn't come along and give this man another chance. Hill needs to step away from football and fix himself before he does something so heinous again. The Chiefs are done with Hill. It's the only choice they have. What other big-named NFL players will likely get cut or traded after the draft? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every single week, and they're really entertaining, so if you want more of me, you should go there. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos every single day. Every day's a new video, so you should definitely subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes 1 click right down there. Smash that like button. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you next time.
My knee.